And the professors here really care about our guys and work with our guys more than any place I've ever been part of. There's kind of two paths if you come to the Citadel. So there's the commissioned officer path, and then there's, just coming here to earn a degree and move on, go to an academy. When you're an athlete, you don't realize all that your coaches do. When you come here and you say, hey, what's really important to me and what do I want to do with my life? I think when you get on campus and you see what our guys are doing, one, a lot of them are just like you, and two, hey, this is a pretty clear path to achieve your goals. I think we all thrive under discipline. Not all of us choose to have accountability in our discipline. And the goal of Citadel is to develop future leaders. A lot of the things that college kids these days can get into, you can avoid just by buying into what we do here at the Citadel. High school wrestling is actually a really big predictor of success here at the academy. This is Ryan LeBlanc, and you're listening to Airey Bros Radio.
You come from a family of pretty decorated wrestlers. I believe all your brothers were All-Americans at Cortland, correct?
Yeah, both my brothers were All-Americans at Cortland. Trevor was a one-time All-American, and Paul, I think, was a three-time All-American.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, was your dad your high school coach?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a family affair for sure.
So when you went to University of Indiana, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you went there, did you go there with the intent that, hey, I want to coach after this, or did you have other plans?
So yeah, I think I always knew that I wanted to coach, right? I think that was my dream, right? Like I think coaching is a dream job for a lot of people to do it full time. And so my dad was my high school coach. I had a great role model. We had a great relationship. And I knew that I wanted to, but you never know if you're going to be able to, right? Make a career out of coaching. And so when I went to Indiana, I studied exercise science. I did my prerequisite classes for physical therapy, and that was my backup plan. But I think deep down, I always knew that I wanted to coach if I was gonna have the opportunity.
I guess, how did you find your way to South Carolina?
Yeah. So, it's wild, right? I've never dreamed when I was growing up that I'd be in South Carolina coaching wrestling. And it's even funnier because my wife she's from Indiana, and her dream was to live by the beach. And I was finishing up college, we were really serious, and we're having to talk about kind of next steps in our relationship. I said, my dream is to be a wrestling coach, and all the wrestling programs that I'm familiar with are in really small towns in the Northeast where it snows all the time. None of them are from the beach. And then lo and behold, I end up at, in Charleston, South Carolina. We live 10 minutes from the beach, and all is well. But I got here by, I went to Indiana for 5 years. I, really enjoyed my time there with Coach Goldman, and graduated, knew that I got my first opportunity at SUNY Cortland, where my brothers wrestled under Brad Brune. And kind of got my foot in the door. And I think Cortland was a great opportunity for me. It was a state school that was built around athletics. It was at the Division III level, so we didn't have a ton of resources. We had great people, and really, really great people in the athletic department, which helped kind of mold me and really, gave me an opportunity to meet some people who were doing special things at the Division III level. But I got a lot of responsibility right away, learned a lot of, really learned how to coach and run a program. And then that gave me an opportunity to move to App State. So I was at Applachian State for 4 years under John Mark Bentley, who, does a tremendous job, and I think that was really where I, just learned to really run a program. And we had a lot of success those 4 years, which gave me the opportunity to, interview at the Citadel, and they hired me. So I guess the rest is history.
Well, you mentioned being at App State and learning a lot as a coach there on the coaching side of things. When you got done wrestling and then, you were at Cortland and then got to App State, how much of a learning curve did you feel it was for you going from being an athlete to being a coach?
Man, I still, you scratch your head. It's funny. It's full circle now, because when you're an athlete, you don't realize all that your coaches do, all the hats they wear, and what it's like to manage 30 guys and 30 families and 30 personalities and fundraise and recruit and manage a team and manage a schedule and all the things that go into it. And so I think I've learned a ton. I think as an athlete, I think you're selfish and you're focused on you, and that's the way it should be. But if your coaches are doing a really good job, that's what it should be. Yeah, I think the learning curve was steep right away, especially going from Indiana to Cortland. We had at IU, we had we had a lot of things done for us. And then I went to Cortland, and you're doing those things to try to help your guys. So it was the best thing for me right out of college to especially drop to the Division III level and see the challenges that those programs face and have to be resourceful, have to overcome those and stretch myself as a coach and as a person.
How much were you shocked when you got to be the head coach at the Citadel and you realize there's even more, opposed to when you're an assistant coach? And correct me if I'm wrong with your duties as an assistant coach, but there's a lot of wrestling, a lot of hands-on, depending on your role, in that assistant chain. How much different was that when you kind of go into that head coach? We talked to a lot of Division I head coaches, and they don't get to wrestle much because they don't have time for it. And, you mentioned living at the beach, but we were talking to Coach Nickerson, and he lives out here in Colorado, and he doesn't get to enjoy the mountains too much because he's building a program.
I think I had some really good role models. I think John Mark Bentley does a great job, and you want to talk about a guy who works a ton. He does. So I saw it from the outside, but yeah, you never know it till you live it, right? And so living it is totally different. And but it's something I've always wanted to do, and it's challenging, and it's fun and exciting at the same time. And I think I'll tell you, the first 2 years when I took over the program, there's a lot of times where I scratch my head, where late at night you'd come home and I'd talk to my wife and be like, man, I don't know what I got myself into. But now I really feel like we just got some things going for us. We finally have we got a full team. We got 24 guys coming back. We got some kids who can really wrestle and guys who are bought into it. I definitely think it's worth it. But I guess to answer your question, yeah, I've learned a ton since I've taken the job, and no, I had no idea what it was. Yeah, I didn't know exactly what it was going to take.
I think a lot of people, they're familiar with the military academies like Army, Navy, Air Force. What, I guess, if in any way, does the Citadel fit into that? I know it's a military school. What is the vibe like? I have a friend who went there. I've seen his photos in his uniform and that sort of stuff. How does that fit into the equation? How does that fit into the recruiting process? Is it similar to the U.S. military academies in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so it is in certain aspects, and then it's vastly different in others. And so I think one of the biggest things in our recruiting process that we have to educate people on, and I guess there's kind of two paths if you come to the Citadel. So there's the commissioned officer path, and then there's just coming here to earn a degree and move on, go to an academy. Both paths require you to live a military lifestyle, whether you're here on campus. However, we have a really large ROTC program. And so if we have a guy who goes the ROTC route, essentially you can go into the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines here. And if you go that route, then it's very similar. You commission as an officer, you have field training exercises on several weekends. You have military labs and a very, very busy and demanding schedule. And then if you don't, though, and about 30% of our students here at the Citadel do that. And I'd say my team is very similar to that. We probably have 30 to 35% that go into the, go ROTC or reserves route. And then, 70% of our student population doesn't. And so that, those guys, they live a military lifestyle while they're here, but they don't, they have no commitment afterward. They use this as an opportunity to develop themselves as leaders, live a very disciplined lifestyle, pick up the things and lessons and principles that a military academy teaches you, but they go right into the workforce or higher education after college. So it's a unique environment. And so we appeal to a lot of different types of kids, and so in the recruiting process, finding the kids that fit for us is, that's the job, right? Like really, really talking to a lot of kids, educating them on who we are, what we are, and the opportunities we have, and trying to find the right people. And I'm sure every coach tells you that, right? But ours is unique you compare us to Northern Colorado or really anywhere but another academy or VMI. I think we're pretty unique.
Imagine in some regards that sort of kind of helps narrow down the focus of the recruiting process, because you are looking for a very, I guess, specific or unique individual that is either looking for that ROTC type of program or just the discipline and the leadership qualities that come along with it.
Yeah, so you would think that, but in reality, a lot of our wrestlers are guys that some of them, sure, it's slam dunk. They recruit you a little bit. They know they've got that drive. Maybe they're from the Southeast. They don't want to move out west or up north to go to school. They want to go, or they have a family member who went to the Citadel. And those are great. We got a bunch of them. But we got a bunch of kids who didn't know what the Citadel was. And, we talked to them at a national tournament or regional tournament, got them on campus, and she said, hey, here's a path that you could potentially take. And if you get on campus, you come on a visit and you see, it's, if you buy into the system here, you can be successful, really successful. And a lot of the distractions you have at a regular college, a lot of the things that college kids these days can get into, you can avoid just by buying into what we do here at the Citadel. And so a lot of the guys on my team, it was a long education process over the course of 2 years of saying, they didn't know what the Citadel was, and we tried to educate them on it. And, that's where the job comes in, because you could spend 2 years and a kid could say, yeah, no, this isn't for me. It happens all the time. But then, you get some of those guys too.
And so what does the day-to-day of a Citadel student athlete look like compared to, say, what your experience was like at Indiana?
Yeah. So I think your freshman year, it's different, right? You have a morning formation where you have to check in, you have uniform inspection right away. You either, if we have a morning lift, it's prior to that. So you wake up at 5:45, get your morning workout in, go to formation, get your daily inspection done, go to breakfast. And then you have a class schedule. Your class schedule is just like any college. You'll have 3 to 5 classes that day. And then typically we have practice in the afternoon. And then at the Citadel, there's an evening study period most days of the week. So 3 hours where there's no wrestling, no military responsibilities. You're just there, supposed to be focused on your homework. And then you got about an hour, and then, and then it's lights out. And so depending on the time of the year that we're in, depends on what that schedule looks like. But our training schedule is very similar to any Division I team. We practice, Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning, and then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we practice in the afternoon. We lift in the afternoons in season on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like I said, our class schedule is similar. Biggest thing is you'll have a morning formation. You have to follow a set of rules, and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
What is the military aspect of it? What does that morning formation entail? How long does that take? What other aspects of, being in the military or kind of having that lifestyle? Or is it more of being structured, being disciplined, having respect, showing up on time, things like that?
Yeah, morning formation is accountability.
Okay.
So essentially they're taking accountability, and then your freshman year is essentially where you're learning the system, right? You're being led. And the goal of Citadel is to develop future leaders. And so that's the whole 4-class system. And so your first year, you're at the bottom, you're learning how to be led. And then you take a leadership role each year, you advance. And so formation your freshman year is a lot about making sure that you're accountable, you're on time, you're dressed appropriately, your uniform looks like it's supposed to. And I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes, and then you go on with the rest of your day. But yeah, there's a lot of structure built into a military academy, right? Like an evening study period your freshman year, 3 hours a night. You're supposed to be sat down in a room, and your freshman year you're monitored, but your cell phone is put at the edge of your door. You have to have your books open, you have to actually be doing your work. After that, nobody really, it's not as structured after that. Your sophomore year, it's kind of on you. That's what you're supposed to be doing, but you don't have to. You can have your cell phone on you and things like that. And so I guess there's obviously there's a lot of pros to that, right? Like I think a lot of kids who struggled in college probably would have done really well with an evening study period. However, not everybody wants that. No. I think we all thrive under discipline, but not all of us choose to have accountability in our discipline.
Yeah, I say it all the time. Even adults need discipline, and so it's something that everyone needs, and yeah, it's a choice. Jimmy and I say all the time, as you become an adult, you have to be your own parent, and that means going to bed at a reasonable hour or putting down the cell phone and not, scrolling through nonsense. And so I think we're living in a time now where I think most people would probably benefit from some sort of discipline with things like technology and those sorts of other things. So building it into the students and the student athlete is probably going to carry through to the rest of their life, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I think the Citadel does a great job of is the guys who really buy into that system, I mean, thrive. I've recruited 2 guys who didn't qualify. They didn't pass the clearinghouse. They were ineligible their freshman year because their GPA, their test scores, whatever. And so we got them into school. And, these are kids that people would think you're crazy to recruit. Both those guys are still on my team. Both those guys have above a 3.0 GPA. And I mean, I think that's pretty wild, right? These guys had under a 2.1 or a 2.2 GPA coming out of high school. Both those guys have above a 3.0 GPA in college and are over, past their sophomore year. Like these guys are going to graduate college, get degrees, and have a chance to be successful. And then I've got guys, I think our grades are coming out, but we have like 7 guys with a perfect 4.0 right now. Like our team GPA is going to be around a 3.35. And I think for a Division I team to have that cumulative GPA, I think that speaks for itself. So that's what I mean by getting kids who maybe your first thought isn't, oh, I'm going to go to a military academy. But when you come here and you say, hey, what's really important to me and what do I want to do with my life? I think when you get on campus and you see what our guys are doing, 1, a lot of them are just like you, and 2, hey, this is a pretty clear path to achieve your goals. And like you said, as an adult, you have to do it yourself. But here, there's people who are knocking on your door at 5:45 a.m. There's people who are making sure you're getting up. And there's a rule system in place to reward those who do it and then punish those who don't.
And with those people that you said are knocking on your door at 5:45, are you a part of that, or is that a separate? I mean, obviously, I would imagine there's professors, but are there specific people that are there specifically just for, like the morning check-ins and those sorts of things?
Yeah, and so there's so essentially, no, I'm not that. We have our commandant, which handles all our discipline and handles the entire military system that's in place. They run the fourth class system here at the Citadel. And so you have TAC officers, you have a whole leadership group built within the school, and the TAC officers and then the student leadership, those are going to be who are making sure you're at formation, making sure you're accountable, and things like that. So fortunately, that's one of the things that's unique about working at a military academy. Disciplinary issues, I don't have to handle a lot of them.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, there's times where, some kids get in trouble and you can't help them here, but I don't have to deal with, I think, some of the headaches that some college coaches have to deal with.
Bringing up the two gentlemen who didn't pass clearinghouse coming in, what is the entry level as far as getting into the Citadel? Because I know with other military academies, at least, in high school, they told you, Dad, that you can't get in there. It's like going to an Ivy League school. What's the entry level? Is it one of those things that they almost build themselves as, come here, we'll help you get your shit straight and make you a man? Or is it beyond that?
I think the Citadel looks at the whole person a lot more than most schools. In wrestling, high school wrestling is actually a really big predictor of success here at the academy. So I think that's definitely benefited us a lot. And so, like I said, yeah, I mean, we've had kids who definitely, we've had kids who didn't get into other academies come to the Citadel. I don't know exactly what our average GPA and average test score are. I think they're pretty high, but if you have really good extracurriculars, if you work the application process, and you, like in both those situations with those two kids, they were special kids. When you met them in person, you realized, hey, these kids, there were circumstances in their lives to why they had the GPA they did leaving high school. And that shouldn't define these two individuals, because like I felt really confident that both these kids were going to be successful in college, and whether it was family circumstances, whether it was transportation problems, there were circumstances in their lives that held them back. And I think our admissions department saw that same thing, and so, no, I wouldn't say that every single kid who's like, I wouldn't say you're going to get in if you're super low, but I think if you have a if you have a good resume of reasons why you could be successful at an academy like ours, and you're doing it for the right reasons, then we've had a lot of success with getting those kids in.
And you mentioned that there's something like 70% of the student body that isn't necessarily going the ROTC officer route. What other academic programs is the Citadel known for? What are people maybe particularly seeking you out for educationally outside of the military component?
Yeah. So we've got a great engineering school. Like majority of the academies, I think our engineering program's been top 25 for a really long time. They were like the 7th program in the history of the United States. So we've got a really strong engineering program. Got a really strong business school. We just built a brand new facility, the Baker School of Business. Got a great education program. We've got a lot of guys who are in political science, exercise science. We've got a great biology program, pre-med. And if you look at our track record to get into law school, medical school, postgraduate work, our acceptance rate is really high. And so I think those are, we have a lot of opportunities academically. And we have a grad school thing. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is we have a grad school that has no, essentially you're just a day student. You wear civilian clothes like any other college. And so, we've got a great MBA program. We just signed a kid, we just got a kid committed today, who's going to be in he's getting his master's in sport management. And so academically, we have a wide range for a small school. We have a wide range of degree offerings.
Well, if you have any education majors that want to get into coaching, we could use some up here in the upper state.
Yeah, well, hey, just hold on. We're really young. We've got one senior this year. We've got 3 next year, and then we're gonna have some big classes following. And I've got a couple of education majors that I tell them it all the time. I hope they stay education majors, because a couple of them would be awesome teacher and wrestling coaches if they stay in it. Just seems to be harder and harder to keep guys in that major, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, one of my, I'd love to. I know we have a ton of alumni who are teachers and coaches in the state, and it would be awesome to produce some more of them. So
yeah, the schools need people that have strong discipline and work ethic.
You just brought up that you had a younger team, right? And you're still building the program. So what has this season been like for you, as you're seeing the kids get molded as humans, right? You're seeing these guys become, better scholar athletes. What is it like for you on your end?
I mean, it's super rewarding. You put a ton of time into coaching, and I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. You think about what we do at this level and what it takes to be successful. But to see the growth of our program and the individuals we have in our program is it's awesome. It's awesome to see guys grow up, mature, have success. And it's awesome to see guys motivated, hungry to train and wrestle. We've got a bunch of guys here right now. School's over. We got a bunch of guys committed to wrestling in the U23 world team trials at the end of the month. We just sent 6 guys out to the U20 team trials in Las Vegas for the first time ever. When I first got here, I think when I first took the job, we had like 10 guys on the team, and we had a bunch of guys trying to transfer, and we ended up I think our roster was like 14 kids by the end of it. And so now we've got 24 kids returning. In the quality of athletes that we have now, and we had some awesome kids when I took over, but we just have a lot more now. And so it's fun to see it grow and build, and it's special. It really is. I really enjoy it.
How did the guys do out in Vegas, and who are some of the people we need to be looking for next year?
Yeah, they did good. So unfortunately, it was during our finals week, so I only sent guys who could handle that, right? So I sent a lot of our strong students who were able to work their finals out. And I'll tell you, the Citadel is a small place, and the professors here really care about our guys and work with our guys more than any place I've ever been part of. And I don't know if it's because they're cadets and they know what they go through. I don't know if it's because it's just a small shop and we only have 2,500 students. But anyway, a huge shout out to our faculty, because they made it work. And so we had some guys do really well. We had Pat Brophy, who's a South Carolina native, kid from Chapin High School. He redshirted for us this year. He'll be a 97-pounder next year for us. He went, lost in the blood round. Kid's been wrestling. I think he started his 10th grade. He went 1-2 at Fargo last year. Fast forward this year, he's in the blood round. He beats 2 guys who are seeded, beats a kid who was seeded first round, then beats a kid, I think from like the, Oregon RTC in the, that Concia 16, loses in the blood round to a kid who just knows more wrestling than him, but it's just he's a tremendous worker. I think it was a good showing for him. He's won some open tournaments. He's had a fair amount of success as a redshirt, but really excited about his future. And then Ben Haubert, he was a true sophomore. He started for us the last 2 years. He went 3-2. He had some some ups and downs. He lost a really close match I think it was like the round before the blood round. he got laced and he almost, and then stormed back, ended up losing I think 11-9. But had a good showing. Brody Porter, freshman from Indiana. He went 2-2, beat some good high school wrestlers. And then I think our other guys went around 1-2 or 0-2. So, but Pat Brophy, Ben Haubert, and Brody Porter all had pretty good showings.
You mentioned a South Carolina native, and also you got a guy from Indiana, and you have roots in the Northeast in New York. Are you trying to balance your recruiting with putting a little bit of a net over the Southeast, but then also tapping back into your ties with Indiana and maybe your old school roots in New York?
Yeah. So everybody in this program knows, I think we try to get the best kids in state. I'll start with that. That's a priority to us, and it's a lot more work. It's a lot more work to take a kid who's from the Southeast and really develop them. But, we're doing it and we're having success. We had a guy in the blood round of the NCAA tournament, not this past year, but the year before. Guy won a South Carolina State title. Selwyn Porter, he's a NCAA qualifier from White Knoll. If you look at our recruiting class this year, we signed, I think, 4 kids from South Carolina. And we just wait. I think we start more South Carolina. I know we start more South Carolina kids than any Division I program in the country. And so it's a big priority for us, and our program's going to develop those guys, and we're excited. And I think we're going to have some really good in-state kids coming through. But yeah, of course, we're always looking in Pennsylvania. Just had a kid from Pennsylvania commit to us. We had a kid from Illinois commit to us who's a 3-time state champ. So yeah, I think you're always looking for talent. But we're trying to do our best. My head assistant, I've got to get a ton of credit to, Luke Welch. He's from Indiana, so we've got a couple Indiana boys on our team who are doing really good for us. We got a couple New Yorkers, but I'd like to get a couple more. New York's it's a funny state, so we'll see if we can't land a couple kids.
I feel like Charleston's one of those places too, where it's if we could just get them here on campus, it's a pretty easy sell. Because I've never been to Charleston, but everyone is like, you got to go to Charleston, you got to go to Charleston. And so it gets rave reviews from both people in state and out of state that go there and visit it. So I'd imagine that's once you get them there, they can and then they just come south. It's warmer here. You don't have to live in the snow in the wintertime to be a good wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Charleston sells itself for sure. You got to come down. You should come and
I will
show you around, man. Yeah, it's a special place. So when before I took the job, me and my wife we used to come here. So when I was at App, we wrestled the Citadel, and every time we wrestled them, we try to stay an extra day or two because we fell in love with the city. It's just, there's a ton of history, and it's beautiful, and it's warm, and the people are nice, and yeah, it sells itself for sure. But you got to get the right kids too, especially your undergrads. Your grad students, it's a little easier. Those guys are just they say they spent time in Pennsylvania for the last 4 years, and they come down to Charleston, especially this time of year. It's 85 and sunny. It's a pretty good deal.
Well, Coach, first and foremost, I want to congratulate you because you said you had the most South Carolina kids at any Division I school. I think that's impressive. I know you're in South Carolina, but it's a military academy. So I think you're probably swaying on at least half, right? I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, but you're probably swaying a good amount. So kudos to you on that. And being in such a nice place like Charleston, how much do they get to enjoy it being at a military school? When are they allowed off campus? Does that change from grade to grade? Fill us in on that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big misconceptions. And I'll be honest, I don't know exactly how any other military academy works. So I don't know what it's like. But our guys get a lot of leave. I think that's one of the first questions people ask you, like, oh, well, will they ever get off campus? It's like, yeah, just about every weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, our guys have leave. And then, especially after first semester of your freshman year, you start accumulating overnight leave. And there's if you make Dean's List, if you make Gold Stars, so academically, if you do well, you get rewarded. As an NCAA athlete, you get more overnight leave. And overnight leave is leave you can take, kind of on your own accord. And then I think it's the Charleston Pass. So Wednesday nights after your freshman year, like if you're above a certain GPA, you get to leave on Wednesday nights from 6 p.m. to, 11 p.m. or 10 p.m., whenever it is. And so, our guys get off campus quite a bit. If that, I guess more than most people would think at a military academy.
And being at a military academy, you said you don't know what the others do, but do you guys have some kind of tradition where they gotta like grease the bell or something like that at the end of the freshman years or anything like that?
We have we definitely have traditions. I think any academy or any military school has rich in history and tradition and things like that. And so I don't know, grease the bell, but we have a recognition.
I don't even know if that's a thing. I might have made that up.
Well, it works. I know what you're talking about. So it's a great example of, I definitely put a smile on my face because we definitely have some things like that. Recognition day. So when you move from essentially you're a knob, that's your first year, you become recognized as an upperclassman. It happens the week after our NCAA tournament. And they wake them up at like 5 a.m. They put them through this, they call it the gauntlet. It's like it's a really, really tough physical workout where you got to work in teams and they try to break you. It's a lot like wrestling. It's like they try to break you. But it's actually really cool. I mean, our everybody who I've had that's gone through it, like it's a huge deal to them. It's this awesome thing where you get up right away and your classmates and your upperclassmen are pushing you to the limit. But then at the end, you're recognized as one of them and like, hey, this is what you did. It's kind of a coming of age and pretty cool. It's cool. It's a lot different than regular college. But as far as, quirky rules and things like that, we've got plenty of those.
Is there a lot of legacy there, being that there's a lot of tradition? You have a lot of legacy on campus, kids that parents or grandparents went to school there?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know exactly what the numbers are. Obviously we have a couple kids whose parents went here and then now they come here and wrestle. I don't know. I guess I don't know the statistics for the school as far as that goes, but for our program, we have a little bit of that. Our alumni are super supportive. Like if I'll tell you, a lot of our best wrestlers come from a program where one of our alumni worked, or we have a prominent alumni in the community, and they explain the Citadel to the really good wrestler at that high school. And so our alumni, I think, are super involved in every step of the process. They help us identify kids. They give back a ton. They give back to our school, our community, our just not just our wrestling program, but our school, our university, in just about every way. And I think they're always looking to support the university, and they're always looking to try to find kids who they think will do well here. And it's a unique and special connection I think our graduates have with our school, unlike anywhere else, because it is so hard, and it can be scary for kids to be like, oh, how can I do a military academy? And I think a lot of times they're the bridge that says, hey, those are the same thoughts I had, things like that.
And I would imagine with being a Division I program, 2,500 students in undergrad, there's got to be a good percentage of the student body that is in the athletic department in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we have a huge percentage of that population. I don't know exactly what it is. I'd say it's around 25-30% though.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing that helps us though, is since we, that such a large part of our student population is athletes. Obviously that helps when there's there's a military side of it, there's an athletic side of it, there's an academic side of it, right? So it helps that balance.
Coach, is there anything on the Citadel and the wrestling program that we haven't touched on that you'd like our listeners to hear before we get into some rapid fire?
Just, I think the big things about the Citadel is I think we have a lot of resources and things going on with our program right now that just are pretty special. I think I think when people come and see it for themselves, I think our program has come a long way in just 3 years. And I think it's going to really surprise some people over the next couple of years. So just be on the lookout, don't be surprised if we have some success.
And do you guys, do you have being that you're, have some coaching ties with John Mark over at App State, is that a dual meet that you look forward to, or are you looking forward to, you guys look forward to doing Presbyterian as the other in-state, maybe lower state, upper state kind of battle there, or maybe with VMI, or all three of them maybe?
Yeah, I mean, any SoCon school, we look forward to. Obviously, App does a great job, and so and they've got a good thing going. And so, we hosted them this year and had a huge crowd, and I mean, people really came out, which made it awesome. And then VMI, we're always going to have it's kind of a rival by default. And I'll give Jim Gibson a ton of credit, man. They had a sold out crowd. We wrestled them up at VMI this year, and it was talk about an awesome atmosphere to wrestle. And then PC, yeah, in state, we want to make sure we win that one. So
yeah,
all those are special.
Right on.
What are the home duels like? You get a decent amount of people come out?
Yeah, we've been growing it every year. That's one of the priorities we set when I took this job. And so, yeah, I mean, App State, we had a huge crowd. I think we had around 1,000 people. And, and then for VMI, we usually get our cadets to come out, incentivize them in some way, and they get really rowdy. And I think something about the Citadel that makes it really unique, especially when the cadets come to matches, is your class that you come in with is around 500 to 700 or 500 to 800 kids. And those kids are like their own team. And you're going to have, it's like when you think about entering college and you go onto a wrestling team, you have 30 brothers right away, right? When you come to the Citadel, you're going through that with these 500 kids or 700 kids, whatever it is. Those are like your team, those are your people. They know you personally. And so when those guys come to the match, it's like they're screaming in the stands like our guys are on the bench. And it definitely creates a unique atmosphere that I think you only get at academies. We've wrestled VMI and some of the other academies, and I've seen it there too. So I know it exists other places, but it's fun when our cadets come. And our crowd and atmosphere is good. I think we're the only Division I shop in the Low Country, and Low Country has some good wrestling, and we've got a huge wrestling community here. So we've got a ton of youth teams, a ton of high school teams that really rally around us. And we've got some local kids now wrestling for our program, some kids from Somerville and Wando. And those communities have been awesome. We've had some high school duels before our matches. And yeah, it's really coming together, and I think hopefully we can continue to grow that. And I know it means a lot to our guys when they get to wrestle in front of a crowd.
You have an idea of your schedule for next year yet, or you didn't know which home matches are going to be?
Yeah, the conference set our home matches for our conference schedule. I'm still finalizing some of, quite a bit of the dates and times. And I'd have to pull it up, but I know, Davidson comes to us, VMI comes back to us, Gardner Webb comes to us, Presbyterian comes to us. I think those are our 4 home matches in conference. We're trying to work out something pretty special the first couple weekends. I don't think I'm allowed to say anything about it yet, but hopefully hopefully there'll be some exciting news in the next week or two about a big dual meet outside at the Citadel, and some exciting opponents. But I got to make sure we can pull it off before I let it out of the bag.
All right.
We're working it, and I'll be happy to let you guys know when it's official. We also have our home tournament, which has been an open tournament, is going to be an invitational for the first time next year. Got Indiana University coming into town, Drexel, American, us, Duke's coming back, and then I think we got a few more guys. So should have a lot of Division I teams wrestling here in Charleston. All our guys will wrestle at home, and so that should be a pretty cool tournament for the people in this area.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing if I can get out there next year for a match or two.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Come on down to the Low Country.
Yeah, let me know. We'd love to show you around. Love to have you go.
For sure. Coach, is it stance in motion or stance end motion?
Stance in motion.
All right.
Is it state or states?
Yeah, I'm from New York. It's states, but I think I call it state now because I've been in the South so
long. Headgear, yay or nay for folk style?
Nay. I think it should be optional only.
Do you have any pre-match rituals as a coach, wrestler, things you eat on that day or anything like that you do, superstitions?
Yeah, I try to work out before every time our team wrestles. I try to run. Anxiety's high. I try to get some of the stress out. When I was a wrestler, I ate the same exact thing every time, no matter what. And it was I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A story that my coach tells is one time they forgot strawberry jelly. It was before our Purdue duel, which was our rival. And I had a little bit of a meltdown, and he came and comforted me and said it's gonna be all right. And one of those things that you look back and you laugh at.
You win?
A little superstitious for sure. Yeah, I won the match. So
right.
It turns out strawberry jelly doesn't determine your success or failure. That's what I learned.
I take my strawberry jelly very seriously too, so I'm right there with you. I'm not a great fan of grape jelly either.
Yeah, good. I was really bummed out. I think I really hurt our manager's feelings. I didn't mean it.
We've all been there, Coach.
Yeah. Coach, what are you booting up in these days, and what is your favorite wrestling shoe of all time?
So I'm in a pair of Rudis right now, and man, I like them. They're super comfortable. They're awesome to coach in. I still wrestle a little bit. And I'll tell you, they, just this certain pair, and I'm not a shoe guy as compared to a lot of people, but this pair gets a little heavy, I feel like. It collects sweat. So I really like it, unless I'm going through a 2-hour practice where I'm going to sweat a lot. My favorite shoe is gotta be the Roulons, the original Roulons. That's what I wore when I competed in high school and all through college for the most part. So my college coach, to go back to that, we were an Adidas school, and he was kind of like, if you had success, you could wear whatever shoe you wanted. And so when I first qualified for national tournaments, I could go back to Asics wrestling shoes, and that was a big moment in my career. I got to take the Adidas off and wear Asics because I was at the national tournament. So
right on, respect.
Special place in my heart for the Roulons.
That's a good shoe.
Coach, you got 30 seconds left in a match. You got 30 seconds, not someone you're coaching. What's your go-to move?
It depends on what leg they're leading. I'm going to hit a high crotch to the right leg lead, and I'm going to hit a knee pull to the left leg lead. And I'm probably going to hit the high crotch, and if they pull that back, I'm going to hit a knee pull. But one of those two shots for sure.
Okay. Second period, you win the coin flip. You're coaching. Top, bottom, neutral, defer.
I'm coaching?
Yep, one of your athletes.
I think the easy answer is bottom, but man, it depends on who's out there.
Yeah.
shoot, there's some kids I'm not putting down. I mean, I guess it depends on the time of year too, man. It's first semester. Yeah, maybe I'm trying to say, hey, we got to work, we got to figure it out. But if it's a duel and their guys really good on top, and our guys really taking them down, maybe we don't go on bottom. But yeah, if I'm wrestling, bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coach, guy from New York, Northeast wrestlers, we all have pride in our state. In your opinion, what's the best wrestling state?
Oh man, I thought these have been cakewalks until then. I don't know if I want this on video. Man, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I mean, I went to Pennsylvania State tournament this year. I have to give them the nod right now. I mean, their high school wrestling is really good right now.
Yeah. As a Jersey guy, it hurts me to agree with you, but you're right. Yeah.
It hurts me to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you Section 5?
Section 3.
Section 3. Okay, right on.
I was born in Binghamton, and then we moved upstate. So we went from 4 to 3.
Okay, right on.
What is your Yes. What is your thoughts? Because I know when you were growing up, was New York 1 state champ or was it 2?
It split while I was in high school.
Okay.
So I think my 9th or 10th grade year, it went from 1 to 2. But is your question, what are my thoughts on that?
Yeah, you think it should be 1, or you think there's some good in having more than 1?
I'm a fan of 1. I'm sure if you're I'd hope they're right. I don't know what the numbers are and the participation rates, and in growing our sport is essential. So maybe 2 is I hope the powers that be are correct. But as a competitor, as an athlete, as a guy who recruits, I'd love to see 1. I think that's what it's all about.
Coach, if you were in charge of the rule committee and had the ability to make 1 adjustment or add something to it, is there anything that you would specifically like to see changed?
Oh yeah, the switchback. Dustin Schlatter used to switch his feet, pull you over his leg, and they made that illegal. And I just think it should be legal. I think the rule change. I think the rules that are proposed right now are pretty good. Be interested to see if they go through. I think they're making a push to make folk style wrestling a little bit more exciting, and I think they're doing a good job. I think we're making strategic decisions that are hopefully going to make it more exciting from the fan perspective. And so my wife, her first wrestling match was one of my college matches. She came from Indiana, didn't have high school wrestling, and so I have a lot different perspective now than I ever have, because she's a fan of our team. She comes to all our matches, and when I have to explain things like riding time that just don't make sense to her, it's like things like that. I think we need to make folk style wrestling more exciting. I think the rules committee is trying to too, so I think that's good.
Right on.
Does the Citadel have a song you guys come out to every match, or does it differ?
You'd have to ask my assistant coach. He works with our guys on the match day stuff. I think it differs. I think they have a playlist that they put on. I don't know. I don't think we have anything special. And if we do, I'm sorry. I don't pay attention.
Coach, are you a coffee drinker?
Yes, avid.
How do you brew your coffee, and how do you take it?
So I just have it, I think I've got a Black & Decker coffee pot. It's my 3rd Black & Decker since I've been in, I had one, I think my freshman year of college, and I've liked them so much that I stayed with the brand. Just a regular coffee pot, and I just black coffee I put almond milk in it now. I used to be tougher and just drink it black, but now I've softened up in my old age, and I put some almond milk in it, and yeah.
You got a local roaster down there? Or you're just doing grocery store beans?
I we just grocery store beans right now. We got this Earth Fare. It's a chain. They had one in North Carolina. They got some good stuff that but I'm pretty, I don't know. I think I could. I'm not too fancy.
Okay, right on. Coach, you have any daily practices or rituals that you do on a regular basis to show up as the strongest version of yourself?
Yeah. So my morning routine is I try to keep it pretty similar. We talk about this a lot with our guys, and I try to practice it myself. But I try to write 3 things that I'm grateful for every single day. Try to focus on those. Take 5 minutes and really think about those things in my life and prime myself for what's to come. I think our days get busy, and I think that helps me stay grounded and um, you know focus on what matters. I also sit with we have core beliefs and values. I look at it every single day when I walk in the office and make sure that I try to make my decisions based on those, not just my emotions of that day. And I think that's something that's really, really changed my life. Helped me to get me where I am. Hopefully I'm doing a good job. But I think those 2 things I try to do every single day.
Are those
Sorry, Rich.
are those core beliefs and values, is that the school or is that the team?
Our program has our own.
Okay, cool.
Coach, what are you listening to right now? Music, podcast, books, audio books? Are you reading anything?
Yeah, let me look. So I have Audible, and I'm a really big fan of Audible. I don't have anything that's just blowing my mind right now. I'm listening to Young Forever, so it's a health one. I wouldn't say I recommend it yet. Just getting started. But I listen to Audible a lot. I don't commute anymore, and so that's been tough for me. I used to have like a 20-minute drive. I'd listen to my audiobook every single morning on the way into work, and I look forward to it. And now I live on campus, so I walk to work, which is also really nice. It's a good trade-off, but I don't always make time for my audiobooks. So I listen to them while I lift now.
Coach, last but not least, do you have any guilty pleasures?
Yeah. I love a good ice cream. We got this place downtown Charleston. It's about a mile from my house, called Jenny's Ice Cream. Give them a big shout out there. You ever come to Charleston, you're an ice cream fan, I'd give them a shot. I love grilling outside, when I take the time, if I have time. I mean, taking the time to smoke meat or fish, stuff like that.
Now, is that Jenny's connected to the Jenny's from Columbus, Ohio? Is it the same brand?
Man, I have no idea.
Okay. Because
I
the
didn't.
one
I never knew it. I never knew about it till I moved here, so I assumed it was a local place. But it's
Okay.
really good.
Yeah, because the one in the Jenny's out of Columbus is pretty top notch. They have some pretty fantastic flavors.
Yeah. Well, if they're one and the same, then it's a good deal.
You have a go-to flavor?
They've got a cinnamon toast crunch, and it's like not cinnamon toast crunch, but it's like something along those lines. And it's got like some vanilla or coconut stuff in there, and it's it's good. That's my go-to.
And being down in South Carolina, you said you enjoy doing a bit of barbecuing and smoking. Do you stick to the beef? Or are you getting down with the pork like they do down here south, or do you have a Carolina Gold recipe?
I I don't have I guess I don't I probably don't have a Carolina barbecue background. I'd compare mine to Texas style a little bit more. I love to do ribs or like pork butt or even chicken wings and stuff like that. I've got a Traeger, and
Nice.
so I guess it's not, I had a Weber and then I upgraded to a Traeger, and now it's a lot easier. But yeah, I fall. I don't have a. I don't. I guess. I'm not as vinegar based as the local places, but we do have some awesome South Carolina barbecue places. Right. Rodney Scott's right by campus, Whole Hog Barbecue, real famous spot. And I enjoy going there. We take recruits there every now and then.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm more of a brisket guy myself, but barbecue's barbecue. When it's good, it's good.
That's right. Yeah, that's definitely being able to take time this time of year. Especially now we're getting through, recruiting to an extent, and it never really slows down. But we get a little bit more flexibility this time of year. We start. We'll have a couple cookouts, and something I always really look forward to.
Coach, barbecue isn't a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know. When you're a wrestling coach, you think about your weight class. It's definitely a guilty pleasure.
Go carnivore, just the meat. Yeah. Gotta go easy on the sauce.
Yeah.
Coach, can I have you say this is Ryan LeBlanc and you're listening to Airey Bros Radio?
Yeah, Airey Bros Radio, right?
Right, sir.
Right.
Coach, this was a pleasure. You really sold me on the Citadel. Wish I could go back to a younger Jim Airey and find you guys, but awesome to get this message out there, and I hope the kids that need to hear it because it sounds like you guys have a really epic thing going on down there.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on and sharing some stuff about our school.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. We're just super fans of wrestling, college wrestling, and now that I'm down here in South Carolina, I'm fascinated by wrestling in the South and how it's growing, and anything we can do to get the word out there that wrestling is alive and well in South Carolina, and there is Division I homes for people down here. We love having you on in the conversation, and again, hearing about the Citadel, there's a lot of fun and unique things that we got to figure out about it and hear about it. So I appreciate your time and sharing all that information with us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and you got to come down. If you haven't been to Low Country, come on down. We'll be happy to show you around. I call myself a local now.
Nice. Yeah, school's out in a little less than a month now, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of traveling. So I'll let you know when I'm heading to the Low Country.
That'd be awesome.
Go get some barbecue and some Jenny's.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Appreciate you.
Night.
Have a great night.
Thanks.
All right, see you guys. Thank you.
Take care.